What if your entire business could be made obsolete overnight? Mr. Crystal by Constantine. And this is the story of Steam. It isn't a warning, it's a mirror. You are about to see how Steam didn't just disrupt gaming. It redesigned the entire industry from the inside out, not by editing feature, but by raising a friction, resharpening connectivities, and absorbing the value chain. But that's what platforms do quietly, systematically, until they become the default and everything else looks outdated. This series breaks down the real mechanics behind the platform dominance. And if you're building anything today, a product, a brand, a company, it might completely change how you see the game. Let's start from the Steam, but it won't end there. See it crystal clear. You just launch your game store. Neon signs glowing. You open the door, rings a bell. The smell of fresh plastics and printed cars hit you first. Posters of Half-Life 2 hang by the window, catching the sunlight. Your friends help painted the walls. The shelves are full. Metal Gear, Need for Speed, Diablo 2. Your first customers walk in. You smile. You made it. Your store is real. It's alive. And you are a winner, or so you think. Then Valve makes a movie no one expected. They lock Half-Life 2, the most anticipated game of a decade, behind Steam. They You couldn't just install it from the disk. If you bought the physical copy, you had to connect online. You had to register registration. You had to wait. Gamers were furious. The retailers panicked. Internet forums exploded. But through the crystal, it wasn't a chaos. It was calibration. People still did it. They complained, they cursed, but they clicked. Well, it wasn't just a launcher game. They're training a generation to accept a new kind of control. That moment wasn't about convenience, it was about eraser. Entire supply chains, disk pressure, logistic hubs, shelf buyers, mail kiosk, all gone. Or replace it by one thing, a digital button. Steam didn't just change how games are downloaded, it eliminated the reason of physical media to exist. It wasn't an upgrade, it was a silent execution. Crystal clear. You pay for rent, Steam's pay for the server's uptime. You wait for deliveries, Steam ships code in milliseconds. You need a staff, a register, a weekend promo. Steam needs a line of code and a discount banner. While you're sweating over inventory risk, Valve takes 30% of every digital sale without touching a single box. Here the twist. What 30%? It used to be 17. It was the cost of keeping an entire industry running. Manufacturing, trucks, packing, salaries, shelf space. Today, Steam gets away with less than half that and still dominates because it replaces them all. One platform, one button, no middleman, no friction. You battling for the foot traffic, the Steam gets global reach by default. You in retail, they in the cloud. And the cloud doesn't sleep. The collapse was crystal clear. You did everything right, but the rules changed. You advertise it, you stock it hits, you offering large discount, you hosted middle night release, you paid for end cap placement, you trained staff to upsell pre-orders. You did everything the old playbook demanded. Sorry. And for a while it worked, but not for long. Steam didn't just rewrite the rules, it made the whole game irrelevant. There were no posters, no shelf battles, no distributor delays, just code, account, and habit. While you fought for placement and the mall, the Steams become the mall. You weren't outplayed, you were out evolved. Steam wasn't a better store. It didn't win on decision or price or service. It won on architecture. It wasn't built to sell more games. It wasn't built to control distribution, shape behavior, and capture ecosystem. You were optimized shelf, Steam was building a gravity. You once player and entered its orbit, they never left. It wasn't a battle of feature, it was a shift in infrastructure. You weren't beaten, you were made absolute, not by competition, but by irrelevance. Irrelevance. GameStop, THU, distributors, all that. But not in a headline way, not in an explosion. It was a quarter one, slower, more systemic. GameStop went from the dealing to public embarrassment. The HQ went bankrupt not because of a bad games, but because the ecosystem changed faster than they did. Mid-sized distributors who once powered the shelves of every mall simply vanished. Steam didn't compete directly with them. It didn't outmarket them or interact them. It just made their role unnecessary, which their platform do. They raise the layers of the system until only one interface remains, theirs. And players never look back because once they experience with friction access, they never miss the friction. They didn't miss the boxes, the lines, the weights. They just keep playing while the old world faded without a sound. It's not just a Steam. Isn't new. Entire industries have collapsed every time the control layer changed. Factories, once powered by water wheels, were wiped out when electricity redefined the works could happen. Telegraph companies disappeared when phones made latency irrelevant. Codec dominated films until digital cameras removed the need for films at all. Blockbuster wasn't beaten by better movies, it was erased by a new distribution model. Uber didn't just replace taxis, it replaced dispatch. Spotify didn't complete with the cities, it completed the idea of ownership. Netflix didn't offer better content, it removed the slots. Platforms didn't complete, they absorbed, they eliminated friction until the entire system became unnecessary. And the most dangerous part, it never feels like collapse until it's too late. If you're not building on platform, you are building on someone else's rails. And here what the rails means. You are not just renting infrastructure. You're renting control, you're renting margin, you're renting access to your own users. Platforms don't just connect, they capture. And once you are on the rails, every move you make serves the system, not yours. They decide you discoverably. They control your pricing, they own the relationship. You may be the one building, but the one holding the tracks. Platforms evolve faster than markets. They update weekly. They test real time. They shift models mid-flight. Meanwhile, most businesses are still writing the annual plans, building quarterly roadmaps, and hoping next year's budget will fix last year's misses. And when platform move, they don't warn you; they just pivot. And when they pivot, they don't just leave companies behind; they leave carcasses. Just ask Nokia or the 40,000 retail stores that vanished after Amazon scaled Prime. If you're not evolving with the platform, you become the part of wreckage. And if you feel it already, then maybe you already in it. So, iOS store or the system, because here are different. The store sells what it given. The system decides what gets old. The store fights for attention. The system owns the traffic. The store run ads. The system sets the algorithm. The store gets paid last. The system takes a cut from everyone. So ask yourself again. Are you store fraud fighting for major margin or the infrastructure collecting rent on every transaction? You see what happened to business, what ignore shifts. If you want to sanitary check your strategy or explore how to build something defensible in the next wave, I have founder's decision. Companies what don't depend on gatekeepers. It's not a pitch, it's a conversation. Schedule it. If you're ready to ask better question. Thank you and see you in next video. Bye bye.